Haven't I commanded you? Haven't I commanded you? Be strong and courageous.
Hello, and welcome back to Teaching Through the Bible. As we look at Joshua chapters 3 through 5 today, remember we have this theme right here, fulfillment of Yahweh's promises. He's promised to be with his people. We're going to see that today. And this first part of the outline, right, cross over the Jordan River, we're going to see that too. So as they do that, then we get to see there's kind of this pattern of word, act, word that you can see throughout the Bible, a number of places. God says something happens, and then he mentions it again, points them back to that thing that he did say would happen, and then it happens. So here, he's promised to be with them, and when they go to the Jordan River, probably at flood stage, they are able to cross through. Just like when Moses brought the people out of Egypt, what happened? They got to go through the Red Sea. So now this is not maybe quite the same level in the sense that it's not the Red Sea, it's a river. It's a big river. It's, again, probably at this time of the year is at flood stage, but still comparative to what happened with Moses, maybe not quite as impressive. Didn't go destroy the army of Egypt at the same time. So we know that Moses was this great prophet. There will be one greater than him. It's not looking like Joshua is that one greater than him. But still, nonetheless, Yahweh showing that he is still with his people, that he's with their new leader, Joshua. And we even actually get to see Jesus shows up. And that's pretty awesome. Like, we know that Yahweh's with them, but Joshua actually gets to see him in some sense, right? So in Joshua, at the end of chapter 5, verse 13, when Joshua was by Jericho, he lifted up his eyes and looked, and behold, a man was standing before him with his sword drawn in his hand. And Joshua went to him and said to him, "Are you for us or for our adversaries?" And he said, "No, but I am the commander of the army of Yahweh. Now I have come." And Joshua fell on his face to the earth and worshipped, and said to him, "What does my Lord say to his servant?" So this is commander of Yahweh's army. So some people may say, oh, this is some just angelic being. But when we see in the Bible an angelic being that's not God, angel just means messenger. When we have someone who's a mere messenger, who's just this spiritual being, anytime someone seeing how amazing this being is, worships that being says, whoa, 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 time out. Nope, can't do that. I don't deserve that. I'm not God. Only worship him, right? We don't see that here in this case. So that seems to indicate this is actually a pre-incarnate Jesus. That this is this commander of the army. Well, it's the commander of Yahweh's armies. Who is in charge of Yahweh's armies? It's Yahweh that is in charge of his armies. So we are seeing a pre-incarnate Jesus here that Joshua gets to communicate with right there, like face to face, in a some kind of maybe physical form or something. So we're seeing God in multiple ways showing that he is still with his people, that he's fulfilling his promises, that he would be with his people. He's leading his army against those in Canaan who are rebellious, who are evil, who have not accepted who Yahweh is, and that he is the one they should be following. And so they get to cross over. Remember that, again, that's crossing over. That's the first step here we have on the outline. We've got the Sea of Galilee. We've got the Jordan River. We've got down here, we've got the Salt Sea, as it is called in this instance, and the Mediterranean. So here, they're on one side. They're on this, what's called the Transjordan side, on the east side of the river, and they are crossing over. So Jericho is just on the west side of the Jordan River, above the Dead Sea. And here, this is about where they're crossing. to go to Jericho as their first battleground on the west side of the river. Once they have crossed over, that's the first place they will take. That'll be the beginning. Chapter 6 starts this next step in the outline of take. They're taking the land as God had promised that they would, as he commanded them to. And then, so you had what he said to them, then you have them doing something, and then we're going to see the word again. So God's promised to be with them, he's shown that he was with them, and he wants them to be reminded that this was the case. And so what does he do? He tells them to make a sort of memorial, to take rocks, and of course they would have been much larger than this, but from that river, and to make a pile of 12 much more sizable rocks, put them on the other side, on this west side. They take them from the riverbed, bring them here, put them over there, and that's their reminder. Hey, those are from in the river because God split the river, because God is with us. And so that's what those are there for. So we had him speak, we had this promise, and then he followed through with it, and he's got this reminder for them of what he's done for them. And then lastly, before we end this kind of shorter section here, this shorter video, let's notice the Canaanites. Let's notice the people on the west side. What's going on with them? We have seen that Rahab has already made this agreement with God's people. She and her family are going to be safe. She and her family can join them, can be Israelites, essentially. It's not an ethnic thing. It's not, she's not ethnically an Israelite. Doesn't matter. It's about who she's following. Is she following Yahweh or following these fake gods? And everyone else has got the same option. They don't want to do that. Everyone else says, you know what? There was, we've heard about this God, this Yahweh, what he's done. We're terrified of this. And so what we're going to do is we're going to fight him. We're terrified of how powerful this God is. We're going to fight his people. We're going to not submit to Yahweh. We're going to reject him. So they could have surrendered, and they could have, just like Rahab, could have essentially become Israelites. They could have followed Yahweh. That was an option, because we saw it with one instance, and could have continued with everyone else. And they said no. They rejected that. And so that's what we've got with the Canaanites, starting with Jericho right here. As they've crossed over the Jordan River, we're finishing over that crossover section, right? The next one is they start the fighting. They start taking the land from these people who don't want any part of Yahweh, don't want any part of his people, want to do their own thing, want to continue in their own evil ways. And so we'll see how that goes down in Jericho next time. Thank you for watching that video. I hope that it helped you learn a little bit more about the Bible today. And if you'd like to continue to learn more about the Bible, then we have plenty of other videos on the channel. And if this has been helpful for you, then you can always let me know by subscribing to the channel. And hopefully I'll be able to continue to help you learn even more about God's Word. Thanks.